Alright, y'all, I'm about to review Ma. Don't make me do this alone. What's up, weirdos? My name's Felicia and I like scary movies, and today we're talking about Ma, which is the new Blumhouse thriller that just came out. And first of all, I loved it. I did notice all over the internet there was quite a few bad reviews of Ma, or just sort of lackluster reviews, and I gotta say, like, I disagree. I thought this was such a fun horror movie to start the summer with. I had a great time watching it in the theater. It was written by Scotty Landis and directed by Tate Taylor, who really went out of his wheelhouse for this one. You'll know him from directing movies like The Help or Winter's Bone, and of course Ma stars our fabulous leading lady, Octavia Spencer. Now, shall I just start the fangirling now? I thought she was the perfect person to cast as Ma because from what we understand about the character she's played in the past and just something about her like energy and look, she seems so warm and nurturing and trustworthy that I would just do whatever she says because I just believe her. I believe her. And so even in the trailer, it's quickly known that Ma's the villain, right? It makes sense. And while you're watching the movie, you know Ma's the villain, and yet still as an audience member, I'm like, oh, Ma. Also, it's pretty exciting because it's fairly rare to have a woman playing the villain character like this in a horror movie, especially a black woman. And the entire audience that I sat with, including myself, was fully rooting for Ma. And I think that's because Octavia Spencer brought such a vulnerability to Ma, and she was such a well-rounded character that you totally felt for her throughout the movie. And even when she was doing bad things, you were like, yeah, Ma, and you're like, wait, what? I also watched a short interview with her on IMDb and found out that she's a genre fan and she like loves horror movies, and she's really hoping that her being in this movie opens the door for more women of color to be playing exciting characters like this in the horror genre. And I was like, yes, correct. Now, before we talk any more about the movie, I do have to tell you just like one adorable fact, and that is Tate Taylor and Octavia Spencer actually moved to Hollywood together and were roommates for 7 years. And I was like, and so as you know, they worked together on The Help and on this movie, and that is just like so beautiful. He also said that Octavia Spencer is like obsessed with true crime and like murderers and stuff, and so she was like always watching true crime stuff, and that probably inspired this character a lot. And I was like, that is so cool. Okay, so what is this movie at its core? It is a revenge film. It is a slow burn revenge film. So throughout this movie, everyone is treating Ma pretty badly. The teenagers, people in town, her boss, and it sort of feels like all these people are pushing this already kind of loopy and fragile woman over the edge and sort of pushes her to do these crazy, crazy things. And I will tell you right now, those last 20 minutes are pretty wild and really fun. I'll also give a shout out to the rest of the cast. The teenagers were awesome and they felt genuinely young and awkward, which makes such a difference in this movie versus like people in their late 20s like pretending they remember what it's like to be awkward, versus like these kind of like scrawny kids like being awkward is like helpful. Something else I loved about this movie is the comedy and how they put it in places you don't expect it to be. It felt like the movie was like a nice roller coaster of like, I'm freaking out and now I'm laughing, and I'm freaking out and now I'm laughing, which is sort of the experience I love to have in a horror movie, particularly in a theater. And I will say once again that I had a very great theater experience with a lot of people that were sort of like rooting for Ma and laughing out loud and yelling out loud. And I know some people like don't like that, but for me, like, that's why I want to see horror movies in the theater, because like the act of like a collective being going on this roller coaster together is like what it's all about for me. I do have one sort of complaint about the movie, but it's really a spoiler, so I'm gonna save it till the end of this video. But first, let's just talk about some ratings. The scare for me gets a 3. There were a lot of fun jump scares in there. It's not a terrifying movie, but there's a lot of fun stuff and a lot of moments for me that I was just going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And that's how you know a horror movie's going well. The gore for me gets a 3. There was like more gore than I expected because I didn't really realize it was rated R, but there was sort of less gore than I truly would have hoped for. And I guess I'm saying that like you get a lot of flash images of what led up to the gory image versus like seeing it go down, versus seeing the brutal act. You sort of see the end of the brutal act, which, you know, to each their own. The cheese for me gets a 3. I guess, you know, 3s all around, but the cheese is really in service of the comedy, so I felt totally fine with it. And overall, this movie gets a 4 for me. I had a blast watching it. I'm serious. Like, I know some people thought it was sort of like lackluster in whatever way, but me, I had such a good time. It was a perfect, fun teenage horror movie that they didn't make PG-13. And they really could have to appeal to a wider audience, but I am so grateful they didn't. They added just enough extra fun stuff that made it worth it for me for that R rating. It really kind of made the movie for me, I'll say. Now, let's get to some spoilers, so if you need to stop the video here, that's fine. I highly recommend going and check out this movie, and if you've already seen it and you want to hear my favorite moments, just keep watching. Okay, the first thing I'll say in the spoiler section is the thing that I sort of had the problem with the movie with, and that is the fact that Ma has her daughter locked up in the attic, and like pretending she's sick, some sort of like Munchausen's by proxy situation, maybe, but I felt like it was like a little bit too vague of what was going on there to warrant that extra piece. Like, I sort of, even though the daughter does come into the plot more at the end, I just sort of felt like it wasn't super necessary, or they should have done a little bit more with it so it felt like the payoff was better. Okay, favorite moments was when Octavia Spencer hit Missy Pyle with her car. That was a moment where the whole audience was just like, yeah! For some reason, Missy Pyle just like has like one of those like faces, I guess. I remember particularly in Bringing Down the House when she has that like huge fight scene with Queen Latifah. Oh my God, it's amazing. You're just like rooting for Queen Latifah to like kick this girl's butt. And I felt very similar in this movie. And it was a great moment. The second moment I loved was when Ma sews the character of Haley's mouth shut. Whoa, that was intense and awesome. Also, this is like really random, but the girl that plays Haley, her name is McKaylee Miller, and I recognized her so much, and I was like, who is that? And she's actually on, this is like kind of lame of me, but whatever, on the show Heart of Dixie. I think it's a CW show, and she plays like the most opposite character. Like, she plays this like nerdy girl with glasses who like doesn't know how to have interactions with people, and then on this movie she's like the cool popular girl. Well done, just well done. I liked you a lot, and you getting your mouth shut was just ideal. And my favorite moment of the whole movie is this like random character named Ashley who maybe has like 1 or 2 lines, I don't know, but her bit is basically that she goes to sleep at all the parties so she can like pretend she drank and passed out, but she's actually just like pretending to be asleep so she can say she was at the party but not get in trouble with her parents. So she's like always pretending to be asleep. So basically in a moment where Ma has like fully taken hostage of all like the main teenagers, this girl, Ashley, is like randomly still there because she actually fell asleep at the party, and when she woke up everybody else was gone, and so she wakes up, she sees everyone tied up and like in various states of being wounded and stuff, and she just wakes up and then she realizes what's going on and then she just goes back to sleep. It is brilliant. And this girl, like, what is her name? Heather Marie Pate. She has no other credits on her IMDb. I don't know where she came from or why she's in the movie, but she was one of my favorite parts. And last thing I'll say is I just love the ending. I love that Ma burns up in her house cuddling this like dude she was in love with in high school that like ruined her life. Like, I think it's just sort of this beautiful image. It's sort of the perfect end for this woman who like we spent all this time really kind of caring about, but also she's killing people, so you have to be against her in certain ways. And she's gone through so much in this way of just like burning in this way where she's like almost sort of happy. It's like very strange, but I liked it. I thought it was a nice image. It ended the movie well, and it ended the character well. And that's it, y'all. If you've seen Ma, let me know what you thought down below. I know there are many varying opinions about this, so I would love to know what you specifically think. And that's it, guys. Have a nice screen. Do you like my new background? Anyways, bye.